But let's not waste any time. Our buddy Bill Gates can't dodge questions. Well, he can kind of dodge questions, but he keeps getting asked them anyway by people who allow him to then dodge them. He's talking to Judy Woodruff, PBS NewsHour. And I just am reminded about the way PBS NewsHour is slap happy when it comes to copyright. So this will be a bit of an adventure.
We'll see.
Whatever. You guys are already paying for this, so we'll give it to you now, and you'll hear it as audio, I guess, at least. No, they won't strike it, but whatever. Anyway, I'll stop whining about that. Here is Judy Woodruff questioning old Billy Gates.
Was reported at that time that you had a number of meetings with Jeffrey Epstein, who, when you met him 10 years ago, he was convicted of soliciting prostitution from minors. What did you know about him when you were meeting with him, as you've said yourself?
Now, Judy does a good job of saying the question up so far, I will say. So when she says, what did you know about him? That comes directly after she says the thing about him already serving time for solicitation of minors, okay? That's the thing. That's the line of inquiry. Let's see what Bill Gates responds to with, like, what he knew about him.
In the hopes of raising money.
I had dinners with him. I regret doing that. He had relationships with people he said, would give to global health, which is
So the problem is the relationships with the people who would give to, say, sex trafficking minors is the one I think Judy and maybe the rest of us are more interested in, that you overlooking. We know the ostensible cover story, Bill, and we even know that you would happily take money from a guy like that, but she wants you on record to say, yeah, I knew he was busted and served time for this already. Very lax time. This was also where Acosta in Florida was told, lay off Epstein, he's intelligence, whatever that means. We'll never get to the bottom of that, I guess, maybe. But anyway, we'll continue on with Bill Gates here.
Also, no. I mean, this is when those moments were like, we need the body language experts for this one.
Yeah, come on.
I mean, like this, our boy Bill is not looking very innocent in this. If you're listening to this at all.
I mean, yeah, it's a great actual pause where we got him with his fingers crossed and
interest I have. Not nearly enough philanthropy goes in that direction. Those meetings were a mistake. They didn't result in what he purported, and I cut them off.
Well, they were a mistake. Why? Because they didn't result in you getting cash from a guy who served time for
that's the weirdest aspect.
Yeah.
I mean, what was Epstein trying to get from you, Bill?
Well, that's a good point. So I'm going to go to this little old article in the New York Times, which I normally wouldn't, cite, but this is a paper of record anyway, talk about Bill Gates, and thank you, Melinda Gates, for all the work you're doing to continue this line of questioning behind the scenes. But anyway, the first meeting, I just want to scroll here, sorry. This is buried into this article a little bit. Mr. Epstein and Mr. Gates first met face-to-face on the evening of January 31st, 2011 at Mr. Epstein's townhouse on the Upper East Side. They were joined by Dr. Eva Anderson Dubin, a former Miss Sweden who Mr. Epstein had once dated, and her 15-year-old daughter. Dr. Anderson Dubin's husband, the hedge fund billionaire Glenn Dubin, was a friend and business associate of Mr. Epstein's. The Dubins declined to comment. The gathering started at 8 and lasted several hours, according to Miss Arnold, Mr. Gates' spokeswoman. Mr. Epstein subsequently boasted about the meeting in emails to friends and associates. Bill's great, he wrote in one reviewed by the Times. Now that's useful to dwell on. Exactly what David said. What is Epstein getting out of this? What is Epstein getting? Let's say he has trapped basically a minor girl in his mansion, and he points up to his pointing of Bill Clinton and says, that guy in that dress, this portrait he has of Bill Clinton in the blue dress. Mm-hmm. I fly around in jets with that guy. So if you want to complain about what I'm doing to you, just look who else does that with me. Now, I'm not saying I don't want to blatantly accuse Bill Clinton, but I will say dishonesty in terms of that. And big eyebrow raise in terms of how much of all of these guys participated in. We said the thing about the 15-year-old daughter, and let me zoom out here for a second, because when she asked him, like, what did you know about Jeffrey Epstein when you had these meetings that you failed to get money on? We're very sorry you didn't raise money from the child predator. I like to think of Bill at like Guy Pearce in Memento, when the 15-year-old girl comes out. It's like, what do I know? What do I know about this guy? Do you think a billionaire goes in not incredibly briefed about the type of person that they are going to try to get money from? So, okay, let's say it's...
Yeah, the adventures of Bill Gates. He's just sort of like popping into rooms, no idea where he's at, who he's talking to. Yeah, it's complete BS. I mean, that's why people like to have staffs.
I'll continue reading from the Times. The gathering started at 8 and lasted several hours, according to Miss Arnold. I already said that. Bill's Gate, he wrote in one, reviewed by the Times. Mr. Gates, in turn, praised Mr. Epstein's charm and intelligence. Emailing colleagues the next day, he said, a very attractive Swedish woman and her daughter dropped by, and I ended up staying there quite late. That is one... let's see if I can put it up.
You're going old school.
A very attractive Swedish woman and her daughter dropped by, and I ended up staying there quite late. That is the punctuation. That's the conjunctions he used. That's how he described it. I just want to put that up as he tries to define this another way here.
What he purported, and I cut them off, that goes back a long time ago now. So there's nothing new on that.
It was reported that you continue to meet with him over several years, and that, in other words, a number of meetings. What did you do when you found out about his background?
Well, and I've said I regretted having those dinners. And
even though I knew about the background, I mean, Woodruff is really letting him off the hook here, as if he was ignorant of it. This motherfucker was not ignorant of who Jeffrey Epstein was. Jeffrey Epstein is a guy who I barely even fucking follow in politics in like the 2008 primary. Heard rumors of, you can look back, it's probably the New York Post, where they're saying Bill Clinton, it might be a little bit of liability for Hillary running against Obama because he's still going on the Lolita Express. The Lolita Express, owned by Jeffrey Epstein. What do you think happens on the Lolita Express? Does anybody, if you're basically familiar with the plot, it's fucking children. So anyway, that was known by me, dumbass, in Moorhead, Minnesota, like in 2008. Okay, Bill Gates fucking knew that 3 years later.
And he's like, yeah, he's completely non-apologetic too. Like he's angry that his saying I regret this is has not ended any kind of inquiries as to what he knew or what he is doing. And people have noted this. I'm not the first person to note this, but there's more coming in a second. But this is just such a great example, as people have noted on Twitter and elsewhere, of how rare it is for this guy, despite him constantly being in the media, to ever be questioned in any kind of, not even necessarily hostile, but in a kind of, more journalistic style where you're trying to get them to answer questions that they're not necessarily wanting to be asked in the first place. He completely crumbles.
Yeah, this is amazing. Go a little bit more here.
Having those dinners, and there's absolutely nothing new on that.
Is there a lesson for you, for anyone else looking at this?
Well, he's dead, so...
Motherfucker.
Are you kidding me?
Makes a joke there?
You put that on again, because that's like, just like, it's, I think everybody listening to this understands how insane it is, but like the question that she asks him is there a lesson in any of this, right? And the easiest thing to say is like, yeah, vet people, right? Or whatever. And he doesn't even actually answer the question really there. He just almost brags about Jeffrey I shouldn't use his first name, Jeffrey Epstein being dead. Well,
it's like Woodruff. Let's read this like maybe charitably, like philanthropically, maybe we should say. Woodruff says, "For you," and then she kind of stumbles in, and like Bill's like in his mind, I guess thinking like, "What are you gonna say for Jeffrey Epstein?" Which is like a leap to make, and also like what a fucking petulant child, and also like whatever. Like I don't know if anyway, we'll play it, and then we can speculate
amazing.
a little bit more on later.
For anyone else looking at this?
Well,
For anyone else looking at this?
well, he's dead. So, in general, you always have to be careful. And I'm very proud of what we've done in philanthropy. Very proud of the work of the foundation. That's what I get up every day and focus on.
Honestly, I'm sorry, we're just gonna take it one back.
For
Absolutely nothing new on that.
is there a lesson for anyone else looking at this?
Well, he's dead. So, in general, you always have to be careful. And,
The lessons for other people, I guess.
Yeah. Consequences.
I mean, look, I fully understand why people would interpret this as a warning, snitches get stitches, because that's what it, on the face of it,
looks
sounds like to me.
honestly.
Yeah. And then he goes immediately to, I'm proud of my philanthropy. Fuck your philanthropy, bro. Like, Google Rand Corporation, Gates Foundation education. The fucking Rand Foundation was hired by the Gates Foundation to audit their experiments in the education of America's entire, all their children, and found it complete failure. Everything they tried, every school district that they tried to do these little valuations of how can we figure out how to incentivize the right, all failed. And that motherfucker, like, what? I guess, are you proud of that too? Like, is that something you regret and we should just tolerate you? Like, guy who goes to dinners with a child predator, we should just allow you to, for instance, determine maybe, or do just fucking experiments on child's education, or we should allow you to own X amount of farmland in this country. No, fuck that. We get, like, Bill Gates needs to get the fuck out of here. Of course, he's not going to, but.
I mean, the thing is, like, this is somebody who should be nowhere near education. This is somebody who should be nowhere near healthcare policy. And it just goes to show that extremely unqualified people can find themselves in positions of extreme power and influence just because they have fucking money. And it's a real travesty, let alone the fact that this guy has connections with some of the nastiest people and most dangerous people that you could imagine.
Yep.
And has no remorse for it. No remorse at all.
No, he's feels put on. He feels like everyone's giving him the short end of the stick about it.
Like,
Like,
being unfair to little old Bill.
in other interviews, he said,
Bill.
like, yeah, a lot of other people tried to raise money from him. It's like, yeah, motherfucker, that's why. All you motherfuckers need to go. You're all bad. You're all evil. You're all, like, basically abusing people on an industrial scale, whether it's sexual or whether it's just, like, their labor time and taking them away from their families. You're all abusive fucking
people
freaks.
around the world to, like, fucking accept whatever insane scheme that he's read about recently as the kind of solution to malaria or education or lack of resources.
Exactly, yeah. Here's another bit from the Bill Gates emails that regarding his appearance that he regrets now. He didn't regret it immediately after. A good follow-up question for Julia Woodruff from PBS, instead of, like, bugging us about copyright, would be to say, hey, when did you start regretting it? At what point was, like, this regret? Because the day after, his lifestyle is very different and kind of intriguing, although it would not work for me. Mr. Gates emailed colleagues in 2011. Bridget Arnold, a spokeswoman for Mr. Gates, said he was, quote, referring only to the unique decor of the Epstein residence, M-dash,
Ridiculous.
and Epstein's habit of spontaneously bringing acquaintances in to meet Mr. Gates.
Yep.
I mean, it's the decoration.
That's covering tracks, bro.
And the decoration was, I mean, let's read that in code just for all the conspiracy theories. So the decoration, what you mean, the painting he has of Bill Clinton that he can point to saying, I know that fucking guy. I've been on planes with him.
And I can embarrass him publicly like this.
I have shit on that motherfucker. Yeah.
And that's what that painting is.
That's exactly what that painting is. That is blackmail the painting. And so Bill Clinton, and so, like, is that the decor you're talking about? That unique decor? And that lifestyle where he brings acquaintances is it the children that he's bringing in to have sex with? it's a very interesting lifestyle. What was that quote? His lifestyle is very different and kind of intriguing. That's the email that he sent after meeting with a guy who served fucking
Be a
time.
psychopath to find something like that to be intriguing. I'm sorry, just like on a human to human level, to know all the shit that he's into, and you know the shit that he's into, the acting like he doesn't, to even flippantly say something like that. Oh, it's intriguing.
Yeah. Have you seen the movie You Were Never Really Here?
It seems very familiar, but I can't think of it right now.
You need to see it. It stars Joaquin Phoenix. When a teenage girl goes missing, a jaded, brutal enforcer attempts a rescue mission. He uncovers corruption, abuse, power along his way, and will use any means necessary to save the girl. Honestly, dude, it's along these lines, and there's maybe one of the best oh shit moments of any film about halfway through that I've seen that I can remember coming to mind. So I highly recommend that. There's a movie recommendation at the end of our Bill Gates section.